Thank you, sir. A very good morning to respected resource person, Dr. Balin Hazarika, sir, and participants of the ICSSR NERC sponsored 1 week interdisciplinary national workshop on human rights education, issues and challenges in Northeast India. I, Jayasrinath, on behalf of Center for Ethnic Studies and Research, Center Guwahati, Department of Political Science, Morigao College, and Department of Political Science, Moridhal College, welcome you all to today's technical session, which is session number 14. Before I hand it over the session to our today's resource person, Dr. Balin Hazarika, sir, who is going to deliver his lecture on human rights under the framework of Indian Constitution, I would like to introduce sir to the with the participants. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar, namaskar.
Dr. Balin Hazarika, sir, is a former HOD, Department of Political Science, JB College, Jorhat. He was also former president of Northeast India Political Science Association, and currently he is serving as president of All Assam Political Science Association. He has edited 8 volumes of yearly journal named Human Rights and Democracy. Dr. Balin Hazarika, sir, also edited a book named Human Rights in India. So now I request Hazarika, sir, to proceed with your lecture.
Thank you. Good morning, participants. This is the virtual mode of, the virtual mode of deliberation in which, to be very frank, we are not very much accustomed to it. Only after the corona effect, we have the opportunity to deliver certain sessions, attend certain sessions, and attend certain meetings, etc. After especially the corona during the last year. So this virtual mode of presentation is somewhat, I should admit that is somewhat odd to me, because I do not see, particularly because of one reason, that I do not see the faces of the participants when I speak. And throughout my long years of teaching in my college, I had that habit. I could see the face of the participants, and I could notice the body languages of the participants, and I could gaze that I should make certain point more elaborative. I should be concise, like that I could understand by seeing their faces and body languages. But here that opportunity is not there. Therefore, I would like to make a request to all the participants here. If we can make this session a little bit interactive. Little bit interactive means whenever the opportunity comes, I would like to hear your opinion also on those particular points which is being discussed. So participatory session is much more suitable for, it will be much more suitable for me in the absence of regular sort of classroom teaching, etc. And this is like, otherwise it will be like traffic, single road traffic, single way traffic, one way traffic type of thing. One way traffic type of traffic is very much unsuitable for me, because we do not see the other vehicles coming from the other side, their speed, the people's face inside those cars, etc. We cannot see those things. Gives us some enlightenment, gives us some pleasure that that particular person is going by that car like that. We do not see the faces of those persons inside those cars, because this is single road, single traffic road. That is why it is very much like that. With that request, therefore, I am making that request that wherever possible, my friends, wherever possible, you take part in the discussion. You put forward your opinion. on a particular point which is being discussed at a particular point of time. So with that, we are now proceeding to the core of our topic of discussion. My topic, as you have got in your official letters, my topic is it is related to the human rights values or human rights considerations, provisions of human rights in Indian Constitution. So that is, I should say that it is more or less related to the reflection of the human rights principles in our Indian Constitution. So that is the topic which we will be discussing. And in the first part of our discussion, we will be just trying to know why the human right is important. Of course, this is the 14th session, as it is told. And probably you have already discussed lots about it, that what is human right, why it is, how it was formulated, and what is the relationship of human rights in the context of the United Nations organization. All these things you must have discussed several times. But even then, little bit of discussion on that is essential for me, because my point is, with regard to the provisions of human rights, more particularly with the provisions of the UDHR and their reflection in the Constitution of India. So what are the basic concept of human rights? That part I will take up in the first part of my deliberation. In the second part, little bit will be discussed. It is not that, participants, it is not that our constitution is influenced by the UDHR or the human rights considerations. It is not that. Also, the human rights treaties, more particularly, I will restrict my human rights consideration to UDHR only, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, because of the time frame in which the UDHR was made and our constitution was made was more or less similar. So it is also, our constitution was influenced by the concept of human rights as reflected in the UDHR, and also the UDHR, the provisions of the UDHR, those provisions regarding human rights were also influenced by our consideration, Indian consideration. So both way we will have to discuss, and in the second part I will try to discuss about how the UDHR is influenced by Indian delegations, or how the Indian concepts were taken, included in the UDHR. So that will be second part, and the third will be the last part, and this last part will be with regard to the those we'll discuss about those provisions which are taken in Indian Constitution from the UDHR. To be very frank, my friend, UDHR, as you know, it has 30 articles, and all the 30 articles, not only 1 and 2, all the 30 articles are reflected in one place or the other of our Indian Constitution. But for the purpose of our discussion, we will take up selective provisions of UDHR that is more related with our fundamental rights, because fundamental rights are very, very, as you know, very, very important for all of us. With these fundamental rights, how many fundamental rights are taken directly from the UDHR? How the UDHR has influenced our different clauses, including more particularly the provisions of the fundamental rights in India. That will be the last part of our discussion. So friend, in the beginning, I should say that from the dawn of civilization, it is a regular practice for the human being to try for establishing better relationship among themselves. Better relationship is necessary because with a better relationship, the development can be achieved. No person will be there, no community will be there, no nation will be there who do not like to have development and progress. And in order to have this development and progress, it is highly essential that better kind of relationship appears in between the parties, in between the countries, in between the individuals. So better kind of a relationship was tried by people to establish, for its establishment, people were trying from the dawn of civilization, from very olden days, from the time immemorial, we can say that people were trying to establish better relationship among themselves. And this better relationship, with the help of which progress can be achieved. Better relationship and progress and development, they are connected together. That means if they are connected together, that can be sustained. The relationship in between better relationship and the the question of development, progress, those can be sustained with the help of one concept, other concept, and that is the concept of right. Right must be provided to the parties, to the people who are constituting a particular organization. May it be family at the lower level, may it be the states, may it be international organizations. Rights must be provided, because this is the right with the help of which they can achieve progress. This is the right with the help of which they can advance their own steps towards more developed society, more developed scenario. So there is a close relationship. My point is that there is a close relationship among these three: better relationship, then again the question of progress, and then again the rights. Rights are essential. Development is essential. And better relationship essential. All these are interrelated, all these are necessary. Now the question of human rights. Rights are not human rights. Human rights, that consideration came to the fore only after Second World War. Human rights is a different consideration. The rights can be provided in a particular country by the constitution. Within the constitutional framework, the rights can be enjoyed by the people living within that particular country. The constitution guarantees certain rights to the people, to the citizen of that particular country. But the human rights, this is not centered within the periphery of a particular state, within the borders of a particular state. It is universal. And the theme which we are going to discuss after a little after is called Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So it says it is universal. It is not centered within the boundary of a particular state. But there is a difference, another difference between rights and human rights. Rights of a particular country, that is constitutional rights of a particular country, provides a right to each citizen only. Human rights is broader, and human rights, the concept of human rights engulfs all the people of all, the entire country, all countries of the world. So human rights is universal. So that is the difference between rights and the constitutional rights and the human rights. And let us now discuss a little bit about the first point of time when people started thinking about human rights. Friends, you know that it is the Second World War. It is the Second World War which compelled the people, at least the conscious people of the world, to think about a high-level organization which can provide some special rights to the people, which will be termed eventually as human rights. With the establishment of United Nations organization, as and when it was established, the concept of human right was not there. The concept of human right was formulated by the Charter of the United Nations Organization. So it is for the first time that United Nations Organization formulated the concept of human rights. And because of what? That is very simple. Because of the devastating nature of the Second World War. It is the devastating nature of the Second World War that reminded the people, conscious people, to think for an organization where the rights will be secured. And these rights of the entire, in the later period, it came to be known as human rights. So the devastating character Second World War is responsible for the formulation of the concept of human rights. And as you know, for the formulation of the organization that is called United Nations Organization. But a question comes, why then, after the First World War, when the League of Nations was established, another international organization, first international organization we can say, after the establishment of, after the First World War, when people thought about the establishment of the League of Nations, why they did not think about the concept of human rights? So this is very simple, I should say. This is the reason is very simple. Reason is, first of all, the scale of devastation was greater to a very high degree in the case of the Second World War. In the case of Second World War, destruction of man and material was much more higher than in the First World War. That is number one. Why? They did not think about human rights when they established the League of Nations. And the second reason is that in the case of the Second World War, there is a difference between First World War and the Second World War in this particular area, that in the First World War, no atomic weapons were used. In the Second World War, for the first time, atomic weapons were used. And you know, my friends, what can be the devastating capacity of the nuclear weapons? The bombs which were thrown on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the first time atom bomb was thrown in the human history on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and the capacity of those bombs were very small, miniature, we should say. Miniature type of human bombs were thrown on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. That was miniature type of atom bombs. But after that period, it could be well imagined that people in the future period will be making much more powerful atom bombs than the one used in Hiroshima and thrown in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So if my friend, you see, they could imagine that what kind of destruction will be made in future wars if there is a third world war, suppose. If there is a third world war, in that third world war, definitely the atom bombs will be utilized, and these atom bombs will be of much higher capacity than the earlier ones. And what will be the result to the human civilization after such a third world war? This could be easily, nicely imagined by those conscious persons who were taking the responsibility of making the Second World War. Making the United Nations Organization. So devastating capacity was much more there in the Second World War, and for the first time, the miniature type of atom bombs were utilized. My friend, the purpose of establishing the United Nations Organization were two. These two purposes were: one, as we have now discussed, to stop the possibility of a third world war. And the second, the reason why to find out the reason why the wars are waged among the countries. There must be some reasons why the countries are waging war among themselves. There must be some reason why people quarrel. Somewhere similarity is there. I will discuss at this point in a little later. So to find out the reason why people wage war, that is the first priority they were giving to find out the reason why the countries are fighting among themselves. And that is the reason why they wanted to stop the Third World War, possibility of a Third World War. Friends, I told you that I would like to hear your opinion from time to time. Can I have your opinion at this particular point, on a particular point? If there is a Third World War, what will be the most important result of the Third World War? Can you throw some ideas, participants? You can use your mics. Someone is coming. What will be the result of the Third World War if it comes? Most important result. Come on, my friends. Put forward your opinion. This is not written in any book. This is your opinion only. What will be the result of a possible Third World War? Shall the world people of the world survive?
Sir, I think if there is a Third World War, there will be no life left on Earth, including humans, because of the destructive nature of nuclear bombs.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have not seen who is speaking. Thank you so much. Anyway, yes, that is true. Is there any other result that will be coming up after the possible Third World War? Any other concept?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
So can you hear me?
Good morning.
Sir,
Yeah,
the result you want to know, like what will happen? We have already experiencing the pandemic. So we can well imagine what will be the next result. Like it will be more devastating. The humanity will be in a loss. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you so much. So it is truly said that it will be a great dangerous situation for the human being, and possibly there will be no human being alive after the Third World War. That is the most pathetic, that will be the most pathetic situation for the entire world, entire humanity, entire population of the world. Possibly there will be no human being surviving after the possible Third World War, because there will be no single party which will be owning the atomic power like that in the Second World War. More and more number of parties will be having the nuclear weapon. And if a particular country utilizes their nuclear weapon against a particular other country opponent, then the opponent will not sit idle, my friend. They will also not, for the sake of at least for saving their own generation, they will resort to the nuclear weapon. So it is truly said to my friends that after a possible Third World War, there will be no, very pathetic situation will be there, and possibly there will be no human being alive after a possible Third World War, right? But this question, when I asked it to in some other conferences, a reply was coming in this way: sir, if there is a possible Third World War, then the most important result will be that it will be guaranteed that there will be no fourth world war. No fourth war will be there. It will be granted if there is a possibility of third world war. It also implies that although said in a different tone, different way, the meaning is same. No people will be alive to wage the fourth world war. Fourth world war will never happen if there is a third world war. Such is the dangerous situation which can be assumed, could be assumed nicely by the conscious people of the entire world. And that is why they thought that something must be done. More serious type of international organizations must be found out, must be erected, must be established. More serious type of rights must be given to the people. So here they, after arriving at a particular conclusion that it will be very dangerous, they also tried to stop the future wars. And to stop the future wars, they advanced very scientifically, put forward their steps very scientifically. And I am calling it scientific steps because they tried to find out the reasons behind the war. And they initially, in their initial attempt, they found that a local level wars in between small countries must be stopped at the earliest possible time. Local level war. It may be waged by two smaller countries like Bhutan and Nepal. It may be waged by another two smaller countries like Myanmar and Bangladesh. These will be local war, and to some extent, they are non-nuclear countries. To some extent, the wars in between this type of countries will be less dangerous. But people also thought that the local level war will be transformed into a great war if it is allowed to continue for a longer time. But how? All the local levels war being waged among some small countries will turn into, there is possibility of turning into the great wars, major wars, if that kind of small wars are not restricted in proper time. Because they say that no state is there in this world who is friendless. All the states have friends, and all these states, friendly states will come forward to help the particular country who is at war. Both the countries at war, at the local level war, will be helped by the other countries of the world. They will come forward. And accordingly, this war will not be local war. No more it will be considered as local war. With the involvement of the other countries in that particular local war, it will escalate into big war. Possibly it will take the shape of another world war. So these particular think tanks or the conscious persons which were having the responsibility of making the charter of the United Nations organization and the concept formulating the ideas of the idea of the human rights, they were thinking that it is very much essential to nip in the bud, to stop the wars wherever it arises within shortest possible time. It is to be stopped. It is to be stopped at shortest possible time. And they also found that there is another relationship in between local conflicts, local level conflicts, say ethnic conflicts within a particular country, say groups conflict within a particular country. these group conflicts are also very much dangerous from the concept of, from the viewpoint of rights and human rights. These local level wars, local level conflicts are also to be considered as very much dangerous, because they are, if allowed to escalate, they will invite the attention of the foreign countries and a particular ethnic group or the social group which is conducting an agitation. They will get the support of the foreign countries in the form of finance, in the form of material, in the form of arms, ammunition, etc. and etc. That means that even there is unhappiness in a particular area within a particular country, even there is unhappiness, discontentment in the case of a social group within a particular country, that is also to be addressed. That is also related to the wars. That is somehow related to the wars in between the countries. It may escalate into the larger war. How? Because this discontented group of people will be helped by the foreign enemy countries through so many ways. And if it is known, when it will be known to the country where the agitation is going on, that country's relation with that other country will be worsened. And at a particular time, if it is going on, the ethnic conflict is going on, group conflict is continued, then at a particular time, the war in between the enemy country and the mother country can come up. And once a war comes up, that will escalate into the possibility of a great war. So viewed from all these things, the local levels wars, local level conflicts also have some relationship with the great kinds of war, and therefore it is essential not only to stop the great wars, possibility of the great wars, it is also essential to stop the unhappiness character, unhappiness nature of the people. It is to be addressed as soon as it is possible, because otherwise it will escalate, it will invite the attention of the enemy countries, and ultimately it may lead into a greater kind of war. So this was the purpose of establishing the United Nations Organization. They were trying to see the reasons, root reasons behind a particular war. Friends, I will draw your attention to a particular situation when conflict was going on in between Mizoram and Assam in its border. Did you notice a scene where some Mizo protesters came forward with banners in their hand, and in those banners it is written, "Bye-bye India, hi China." In some other flags, it is written, "Hi China, hello China." And in some other flags, it is written that "Bye-bye India." What does it indicate? It indicates that although the border dispute in between Mizoram and Assam is a local one, it will escalate. The possibility is there. The seed contains there of a big seed of a big war contains there. This sort of situation may worsen the relationship in between China and India. And if in a particular point of time, these two countries came up to face with each other with military forces, then the situation will be, what will be the situation that we can imagine. Therefore, it is proposed that discontentment in the minds of the people must be addressed by the countries concerned. And if the particular country cannot address the discontentment of a particular section of people of their country, then they should take some others' help, maybe international organizations' help, to address them, so that it does not lead into a major or smaller or major war. If the smaller war comes up, then the possibility of major war will also come up. So unhappiness character is also to be addressed. That is, we are making putting trust on that particular point, and that is why the after the establishment of the United Nations organization on 24th October 1945, they put priority on the concept of human rights. And in the very first theme, or their aims and objectives, in the section of aims and objectives, the charter declared that its main purpose is to, I quote, is to, quote, save the succeeding generations from the scourge of war and to reaffirm faith in fundamental human rights. Reaffirm faith in fundamental human rights. Friends, this is the first time the terminology of human rights appear in an international document of great importance, because this is the document. This is the not ordinary document, rather it is the charter of the United Nations organization. It says about human rights that is to be secured at any cost. So the terminology of human rights came for the first time in the charter of the human rights, in the charter of the United Nations organization. But there is a difficulty again. There is a difficulty. That difficulty is with regard to the definition and meaning of the human rights. Human rights was never defined by the charter. No other agencies of the world were trying to define what is human right. We may understand what is human right, but understanding part is different and legal meaning is different. If you are abusing human rights, then you can be accused of violating human rights only when there is a definition of human rights. Without the human rights, one cannot be accused legally. But that is lacking. Definition was lacking. Since definition was lacking, so different countries were continuing their inhuman activities in their own ways. Right to life is a human right. Right to have, to face. If you are accused of doing something illegal things, you will be given punishment, but you have the right to get the little possible amount of punishment, because the punishment is provided to a person not only to insult him, not only to do harm to him, rather to make the person feel again that I was wrong and I will be correct, I will make myself correct if I am given some opportunity, another opportunity. So punishment was to give minimum amount of punishment and to provide the opportunity to the accused person to repent for his ill deeds is another human right. But this kind of human rights was not followed in the countries. Take the case of Iran. You must know about the provision of punishment where the accused person is given a punishment that is known as stoning to death. Stoning to death, most cruel mode of punishment. This goes against the concept of human rights. So here a person is brought to, the accused person is brought to a particular field, tied in a particular post. People, or sometimes he is dig in a particular hole up to the waist level, and if it is an woman, that she will be digged up to the portion of neck, and the people gathered around that particular person will be asked to throw stones to him until he dies. That is called stoning to death. That is called stoning to death. Most inhuman practice was going on in Iran, also in Israel, also in some other parts of the globe. That could not be stopped even after the passage of the Charter of the United Nations. Reason is only one. The definition of human right was not formulated till then. So this was the reason why another attempt was made by the United Nations organization in 1966 to sort out some other legal documents called the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights and International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. These were the two covenants made by the International Organization in 1966 only with a purpose to have a stricter type of definition of the definition of human rights, and also to make those provisions compulsory for the nations. UDHR was neither defining the human rights nor it was compulsory for the states. But in 1966, these two covenants were made. These two covenants were different from the UDHR in the point that these two covenants were, well, not directly enforceable, but the countries which ratified them, for those countries, it is compulsory to follow. UDHR was signed by every country of the world, at all the members of the world. But even then, it was not enforceable. It was the character of enforceability was not there. But the ICCPR and International Covenant on Economic and ICESCR, those were compulsory in the nature, because if the countries like it, they can ratify it, and after ratification, it becomes compulsory for them to follow. 171 countries ratified ICESCR till 2020, and 173 countries ratified the ICCPR. That means these provisions are compulsory. They accepted that it will be compulsory for us. So a step forward. They went a step forward in the making of the human rights stronger. And so far as the question of definition is concerned, this definition, by that time, three different type of important definitions came forward, for at least for the people of India. Because we, the Indian people, would like to have a definition which is formulated by some international organization and also by some acts passed by the Parliament of India. So these three definitions I consider as important for the purpose of discussion here. I told that the meaning was disclosed for the first time of human rights in the UDHR. But even the UDHR was not putting forward a definition of human rights in proper way, in stereotype way. If we are asked what is the definition of democracy, we will remind Abraham Lincoln and we will say this is such and such and such and such. Of the people, by the people, for the people, like that definition. That like definition was not put forwarded by UDHR about human rights. It only states that the inherent dignity of all members of human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. inherent dignity of all members of human family is the base for international peace and all kinds of peace in the world. What is dignity? We will discuss. It is a particular kind of respect, honor. We will discuss what is this dignity a little later. It is not mentioned about honor. Inherent honor by all members, to all members, it is not said like that. It is said about dignity. Let us take another definition quickly. Human rights, United Nations Center for Human Rights also says human rights could generally be defined as those rights which are inherent in our nature. Friends, I invite all of you to put stress on inherent, this word. Inherent in our nature, and without which we cannot live as human being. Human rights could generally be defined as those rights which are inherent in our nature. Very much natural concept. Inherent means very much nothing artificial, is nothing not made by any legal agency. It is very much natural. In the case of whatever is coming to your mind as human being, that kind of right is referred here. Inherent in our nature. That is human rights. So that definition was put forwarded by United Nations Center for Human Rights. And as I said, we would like to have at least one definition from our India, from certain acts passed by India. In India, as you know, in 1993, the Protection of Human Rights Act was made. And here, one definition was put forwarded. Here also it is said, human rights are the rights relating to life, liberty, equality, and dignity. Again, that word has come. Dignity, not honor, my friends. Dignity of the individual guaranteed by the Constitution of India or embodied in the ICCPR, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and ICESCR, International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, adopted by the General Assembly of the UNO on 16 December 1966. This is the definition put forwarded by our act, which is very much similar with the concept of human rights put forwarded in the world level. And directly it has accepted the definition, the meaning and definition, which is put forwarded in these two covenants, ICESCR and ICCPR. So the word dignity, actually we have found in two of these three definitions. And we have also mentioned that dignity is not simple honor. Honor is somewhat related to the concept of dignity, but they are not completely alike. Then what is it? What is dignity? It is dignity which is emphasized by human rights. Dignity is required. Sum and substance of human rights is dignity, not honor. Now the question comes, you may ask a question, that why the honor in place of honor, why the dignity is mentioned? Where lies the difference in the meaning of these two words? The dignity is not much different from honor. Rather, it is somewhat, I should say, it is somewhat reciprocal type of honor. Our society is hierarchical, my friends. In most of the cases, we find hierarchy in the society. There is a social group situated in the higher steps of the ladder, and there are some other social groups which will be placed in the lower strata of the ladder. And this sort of situation is very much common even in our society. We have so-called the high caste and the so-called low caste in our society. we have the religious gurus in our society and his followers in our society. So also is the case in family. In the family also, this concept of stratification is very much available. The father has a different status. Mother has a different status, not equal in all the respects. The person who is situated at the higher ladder always expects that he should be honored. He should get honor from the lower people situated in the lower ladder, lower strata. And likewise, this lower people situated in the lower strata, they also expect that it will be very good if we get equal amount of honor. The honor which we are showing to the people at the higher ladder, it would have been very nice if they also show us equal amount of honor. But that is not happening in most of the cases. I will not say that in every cases this is not found, but in most of the cases in our family, in our society, we find that this reciprocality of honor is not found. Dignity is reciprocality of honor. If the high class people are expecting some kind of honor from the low caste people, to so-called low caste people, then it is the duty of the high caste people to show equal amount of respect and honor to the low caste people. If it is happening, then we will say that question of dignity arises in that particular situation. If it is not arriving, then well, my friend, it is only respect. It is only honor. It is not dignity. Dignity is the crux of human rights. Sums and substance, the heart of human right is dignity, not honor. So we must not forget that in the human society, everyone has some duties towards the others. By doing the duties to the others, they can show respect to the other section of people, and the kind of respect the lower caste, people situated at the lower rung of the ladder are showing to the higher person situated in the higher ladder. Equal amount of respect must be shown by them to the persons situated in the lower strata, and vice versa. Then only the question of dignity will arise. In the two definitions we have put forward here, dignity means this. Dignity is something without which the concept of human rights can even not be imagined. You have to respect everybody. Being teacher, we have to respect the students also. The students will definitely respect the teacher. But being teacher, we have a duty to see that our duty towards them is properly performed, and by doing that, we can show respect, we can show honor to them. So in the relationship in between student and teacher also, the question comes whether it is best, it will be called honor, or whether it will be called dignity. So that dignity is mentioned. That dignity is mentioned in our definitions of human rights. Now let us come to discuss about two periods of making two important documents. Two different periods, two different places where two documents, important documents were being framed at particular time. What are these times? What is that period? What are these documents? My friend, one of these two documents is our constitution itself. And the other document is UDHR. Let us examine the time when Indian Constitution was being framed. When it is 1946, 9 December, 9 December 1946, for the first time, the Constituent Assembly met for the purpose of making our Indian Constitution. And it came into force. We have two dates, friends. We have two dates here. For the purpose of enforcement of Indian Constitution, adoption of Indian Constitution, we get two dates. One date is a miniature part of the entire Constitution came into force on 26 November 1949. But we observe Republic Day on 26 January 1950. Because at that time, on that particular day, on particular date, the entire Constitution came into force. But what is the purpose? That certain parts of the Constitution was enforced on 26 November 1949, 2 months earlier. What can be the reason behind? If the Constitution is fully made by that time, why not the full Constitution came into force on 26 November 1949? That is a question which may be of interesting, maybe of some interest for all of us. We will, if time permits, we will discuss. But let us go to the next point, that what is the period when UDHR was being framed? UDHR was being framed. The purpose, the task of making the UDHR was taken by, so the responsibility was shouldered by the General Assembly. And the General Assembly, for the first time when it met on 10 January 1947, sorry, 1946, 10 January 1946, first meeting of the General Assembly was held. There itself, they thought that some of important rules and regulations with regard to human rights should be made, which later came to be known as UDHR. They took up the job in a very first session on 10th January 1946, but the General Assembly, as we know, is a very big organization, big assembly. Therefore, it handed over the responsibility of making the draft of the UDHR to the Economic and Social Council. Immediately, they shifted the responsibility. And on its part, the Economic and Social Council also shifted the responsibility to another organization. They made another organization specially made for this purpose. They made another organization specially for making the draft constitution of UDHR. So this organization is known as United Nations Commission on Human Rights, and it was made on in the month of May 1946. United Nations Commission on Human Rights took up the job of making the constitution of the UDHR, but it is again, since constituted of 57 members, they thought that the responsibility of making the draft constitution should be given to a smaller committee. 8 member states were chosen. Considering the geographical location of these states, they were chosen, and all these 8 states were brought and made a committee and entrusted with the responsibility of making the constitution of the UDHR, draft constitution of UDHR. And this one point is to be mentioned here. Apart from the 8 states, there was a procedure that whoever is interested in the purpose of UDHR or in the process of making the constitution of the UDHR, they can come and join in the meeting. In that way, different NGOs, different social groups, different human rights organizations went to Paris to attend the meetings of the United Nations Commission on Human Rights, which were drafting the main constitution of the UDHR. And in the year 1947, early part of 1947, they formulated the draft. They formulated the draft and they submitted it to the General Assembly. General Assembly accepted it after thorough discussion on 10th December 1948. So we see that the period coincides. The period of making the UDHR and period of making the Indian Constitution coincides. It is 1947-48 like that. In the case of, the UDHR, here also in our Constitution, it is 47 and 48, the middle time of the entire period of making the Constitution. So period coincides. But it is not sufficient. If the period coincides, well, it is good. But one organization is working at Paris, making the draft of the UDHR, and the other organization is Constituent Assembly is making its attempt in Delhi. What is the relationship? How can one be influenced by the other? My friends, there is a connecting point in between two groups, two meetings, Paris and New Delhi. There is, you see, India also sent a team of delegates to the United Nations Commission of Human Rights to attend the meetings of making the draft of UDHR. These three-member delegates were their names were Hans Mehta, to be spelled Hans Mehta. It is written in English, Hans Mehta, and M.R. Masani is the second one, and the third, Lakshmi Menon. These three Indian people were delegated by Indian National Congress to attend the meetings at Paris, where process was going on to make a draft for UDHR. So these people attended those meetings, and possibly they could influence, or possibly they got influenced by the meetings of the meetings which was in charge of drafting the UDHR. So question of influence is definitely be there. And here you see Indian delegates, to be frank enough, could influence in a great way the drafting committee of UDHR, because they were not only the delegates, they were taking active part in the freedom movement of India. Each of them were great authors, and out of these three, at least two were members of the Constituent Assembly also. But here lies the connecting issues. Out of these three, all of them were freedom fighters, took active part in the freedom movement. Therefore, they know the ideologies of Mahatma Gandhi, Satya, Ahimsa, etc. And at least two of them, one lady, the first lady, Harha Mehta, and the second person, M.R. Masani, they were also the member of the Constituent Assembly. They were member of the Constituent Assembly, and they were attending the sessions of the draft committee of the UDHR in Paris. So possibility is there. Influencing and getting influence. Both way, the question of influence was working there upon them. So it is to be said in this particular point of time that if you are having some property in your hand, this is the nature of human being. If you have enough property in your hand, you may not realize the real value of those property. But once, if you lost that property, or a person who does not have any property in his own, he will realize what is the value of those property. So there is one Hindi sayari actually. Let me tell it to you. दुनिया जिसे कहते हैं जादू का खिलौना है, मिल जाए तो मिट्टी है, खो जाए तो सोना है. I repeat, दुनिया जिसे कहते हैं जादू का खिलौना है, मिल जाए तो मिट्टी है, खो जाए तो सोना है. इंडियन डेलीगेट्स के लिए बहुत कुछ खो गया, लिबर्टी खो गया, राइट्स खो गया. Therefore, they know the real value of the rights, liberties, and they were fully involved. That is the reason why they were fully involved. These three persons as a team, fully involved in the process of making the draft UDHR there. Took keen interest in every point, in every section, in every article. And how they influence the draft UDHR. Let us take some example. India insisted, number one, India insisted particularly by Hans Mehta, that lady, first lady. Two ladies, one person, one gents. India insisted that the word man, I quote, man, in article number 1 be replaced with human being. Difference is there in between man and human being. Originally, the draft was made with the word man. Our representative, particularly Hansa Mehta, said that this must be replaced. The word man must be replaced, and in each place, you must include the word human being. And accordingly, this article number 1 takes this shape. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and right. All human beings. It took that shape. And in case of another article also, article number 2 of the UDHR, our representatives changed a lot that article also. India added the words, 2 words here, color, sorry, and political opinion. Color and political opinion. These 2 words were added by Indian delegates while article number 2 was being drafted of the UDHR. Ultimately, it took the shape like this. Article number 2 of the UDHR. Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedom set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color. This is added by our Indian representative. Race, color, sex, language, religion, political. This is added by Indian representative. Political or other opinion, national, of social origin, property, birth, or other status. Article number 2 was also modified by the committee as per the suggestion of the Indian delegates. And Indian delegates added a completely new article, my friends, completely new article, article number 13 in the UDHR. It is the credit goes to the delegates of India. They made it. They forced the drafting committee to insert this article number 13. What is written in the article number 13? Article number 13 of the UDHR states, everyone has the right to freedom of movement and residence within the borders of each state, completely included as per the suggestion of Indian representatives there. So UDHR is influenced by Indian representatives there. Take two more examples quickly. India aided the principle of just and favorable conditions of war in article number 23. Article number 23 was being framed, but there Indian representatives said these words, just and favorable conditions of war, must be included. Friends, listen to the article number 23 after it has incorporated Indian suggestion. Everyone has the right to work, 23 states, to free choice of employment, and now listen, to just and favorable conditions of work. This part was added by Indian representatives, and to protection against unemployment. So article number 23 was also greatly influenced by the delegates of India. So like that, Indian representatives could influence in some other case of other articles also, wherever they could found the opportunity to insert the spirit of secularism, multiculturalism, cosmopolitanism, these ideologies. Wherever they got the opportunity, they forced to include those ideologies in the wordings of different articles. So in this way, the UDHR got influenced by the Indian delegates there. Now, let us see the vice versa. That means, is there any article in our constitution which is influenced by the provisions of the UDHR? Yes. Out of the 30 articles, my dear friend, out of the 30 articles of the UDHR, each and every article is included in our Indian constitution. For example, I will take a few for your purpose of discussion. I will take just a few only. See, the very first article, as we have stated a little while ago, article number, very first article of the UDHR. I repeat again for your benefit. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and right. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. That is the article of 1 of UDHR. Article number 14 of Indian Constitution is speaking the same thing. Listen about article number 14, what it states. It states, the state shall not deny to any person equality before law or equal protection of the laws within the territory of India. So both are same. Very much similarity is there in between this article number 1 of UDHR and article number 14 of the Indian Constitution. Both speaks about some sort of non-discrimination. So this is the first example of Indian Constitution getting influenced, being influenced by the provisions of the UDHR. Take the case of two. My friends, I have to make a particular point here again. Most of the fundamental rights of India are included in the UDHR, or I mean, the most of the important provisions taken from UDHR are included in the fundamental rights of India. Fundamental rights, as you know, is they are in part 3 of the Indian Constitution, and they are considered as the most important kind of rights. And they are somewhat different kinds of rights, not ordinary kinds of rights. there are certain differences because they are always backed by the Constitution. Other rights are, the Constitution also provides some other rights other than the fundamental rights. Other rights are not granted by the Constitution. Not backed by the Constitution. That is a difference in between general type of rights, ordinary type of rights of the Constitution and the fundamental rights. Excuse me. Sorry for the interruption. Now let us come to article number 2 of the UDHR. First, listen to article number 2 and then listen to article number 15 of our Indian Constitution. You will find a similarity. Article number 2 of the UDHR states, everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in the Declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, such and such, etc. and etc. Article number 15, which is again another fundamental right for us, it states that states shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only of race, religion, caste, sex, and place of birth. It may be seen that article number 14 and article number 15 are very much similar in our Constitution, but there is a difference. Article number 14 grants right to equality to all persons. It grants equality to all persons. Or he may be citizen or may not be citizen. To all persons, citizens or non-citizens, against the arbitrary action of the state. This is article number 14. It grants equality to all persons in India. Article number 15 is not same. Article number 15 in Indian Constitution says it prohibits discrimination on the part of the states on grounds of race, religion, caste, sex, place of birth, among and other considerations. So these article number 14 and 15, although they look alike, they are not same. Article number 14 of Indian Constitution is directly influenced by article number 1 of the UDHR. Article number 15 of the Indian Constitution is directly influenced by article number 2 of the UDHR. Then let us come to article number 3 of the UDHR. Article number 3 of the UDHR states, everyone has the right to life, very, very important right to life, liberty and security of person. UDHR, article number 3. This right is reflected in India in article number 21. Again, a fundamental right. Article number 21, according to this constitution, no person shall be deprived of his life. Similar wordings, not only the spirit. No person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty, except according to a procedure established by law. That means right to life in UDHR, right to life in the fundamental rights of India. Then again come to article number 4 of UDHR. It states, no one shall be held in slavery. Slavery is abolished, that means. And the same article can be found in article number 23(1) of Indian Constitution. It states, traffic in human being and the beggar and other similar forms of forced labor are prohibited. What is difference? Spirit-wise similarity was there, word-wise similarity is there. We must say that it is a good reflection of the UDHR provisions in our Indian Constitution. Again, like the previous two articles of Indian Constitution, this article, article number 23(1), is also a part of fundamental rights. Let us come to article number 9 of the UDHR. It states no one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. Arbitrary arrest is the subject matter here. No one can be subjected to, according to UDHR, article number 9. That is reflected in article number 22 of the Constitution in similar wordings and in similar spirit. Article number 22 says of our Indian Constitution, no person who is arrested shall be detained in custody without being informed as soon as it may be of the grounds for which he is arrested, nor shall he be denied the right to consult and to be defended by a legal practitioner of his choice. Arbitrary arrest is the sum and substance of this article number 22, which reflects article number 9 of the UDHR. Again, article number 22 is a fundamental right. Fundamental rights are very, very important rights, more, thousands times more important than the other rights of the Constitution. And it is important to note that most of the rights that were taken from the UDHR are included in the list of fundamental rights. Article number 17, let us come to 17. Article number 17 of the UDHR states that everyone has the right to own his property. Own his property. In some other wordings are also there. I will not go for that. The main substance of this article is article number 17 is that everyone has the right to own property. Is it there in our Constitution, my friends? Is it there? Is it there in fundamental rights of our Constitution? Right to property. Someone is trying to.
It was there before.
It was there, yes.
Yes,
It was. Yeah. Friend,
Yes, sir.
Where it is now?
No, sir, it is met legal rights. It's come on the article.
Legal right now.
Legal rights. Thank you so much, my friends. Yeah. It is not fundamental rights. There lies the difference, mind you. There lies the difference between article number earlier. This was there in the list of fundamental rights, but it is not there in the list of fundamental rights, but in very much in the Constitution. Article number 300A is defining it. It is not in the list of fundamental rights, but it is not that it is not there in the Constitution itself. It is not thrown out from the Constitution. So article number 300A, it states of our Constitution, no person shall be deprived of property save by authority of law. This was an amendment. It was amendment number 44 of 1978, which took away the right to property from the list of fundamental rights into some other place of the Constitution. Friends, this is another difference in between the fundamental rights and the ordinary rights, legal rights. If you want to change the status of the some rights included in the fundamental rights, Constitution has to be amended. Without amending the Constitution, it is not possible to take away or to make any change in the case of the rights provided in the available in the list of fundamental rights. But in the case of other rights, legal rights, placed in other part of the constitution, to change the status of those constitution, it is not essential to amend the constitution. We will get it in a later period. We will get it. That is the difference between ordinary rights, or I should say the legal rights, and the fundamental rights. Let us go to article number 19. Article number 19 of the UDSR states that everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. It is, many people say this is the heart of all the fundamental rights in India. UDSR states in article number 19, and in article number 19 itself in our constitution, it is stated. Article number 19 of the Indian Constitution provides freedom of speech, which is the right to express one's opinion freely without any fear, and the mode is also described there, through oral, written, electronic, broadcasting, or through press. These are the modes of expressing your opinion. But the main thing is you have the right to express your opinion fearlessly. Both the articles are same. UDSR, it is 19. Our constitution it is 19. Our constitution, of course, in the article number 19, it includes some other freedoms also. That is why very, very important freedoms these are, and that is why it is called the heart of all the fundamental rights. These are freedom of speech and expression. That is number one, what is mentioned in article number 9, taken from article number 19 of UDHR. Apart from that, there is article number 19. There is freedom to assemble peacefully and without arrest, freedom to form association and union, freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India, freedom to reside in any part of India, to practice any profession or to carry any occupation, trade, or business. These are the 6 freedoms included in the article number 19 of Indian Constitution. My friends, there was another freedom in this list, and that is called freedom to gain property. It is taken away, as we have already discussed, and placed in article 300A. Now let us come to article number 26. 26 of the UDSR states, everyone has the right to education, important right for all of us, since we belong to teaching community. Article number 26 of UDHR, it gives us the right to freedom to entire population of the world. Education shall be free. What is written? Please pay attention on these wordings. Education shall be free, at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. Elementary education shall be compulsory. Where lies the difference in between our right to education and the right to education provided by Article 26 of the UDHR? No difference at all. It is compulsory here, at least for the students of 6 to 14 years age, compulsory, free. Everything is mentioned in both the articles. This is article number 21A of the Indian Constitution, provides compulsory education for all the children. Friends, this right to education was free education up to
Excuse me, sir.
Hello.
How, sir? I কৈছিলো. Sir, second session will start at 12. So 12:15.
At 12?
Yes,
it was understood that it will go up to 12:15. Sorry. I understood that it will go up to 12 and 12:15. Okay, yes, I am concluding.
Thank you.
So article number 26 is reflected in article number 21A of our Indian Constitution. Like that, we have article number 22. It states that right to everyone has a right to social security. Social security, which is there in Article number 43 of Indian Constitution. Article number 43, it is not in the list of fundamental rights. It is in the directive principle. But on the directive principles also, state can make some law. In Assam, a law is made, which is known as Pranam Act. Pranam Act in 2017. It is related to the social security. To protect the old age, to protect the unemployed people, to protect the disabled children, this act is made. Again, you see, very interestingly, Assam government launched Pranam Commission in 2019. 2019, Pranam Commission was established. And what is the main purpose of this commission? This commission is punishing the erring sons and daughters, I mean, who are employee of the government and who are not taking proper care of their old parents. This commission has made a rule that 10 to 15% of their salary will be deducted from their pay, and that amount will be paid for the parents of for their parents. So social security is both there. And lastly, Article number 23 of the UDSR states, everyone has the right to work, to free choice of employment, to just and favorable conditions of work. And in Indian Constitution, Article number 41 of it says, the state shall, within the limit of its economic capacity and development, make effective provision for securing the right to work, to education, and such other things. So these are the 10 rights I have taken from the directive principles. From the UDHR, and all these UDHR provisions, 10 provisions, are nicely reflected in the Constitution of India. But I should repeat that not only these 10 articles of UDHR, altogether 30 articles are there. Other 20 articles are also reflected in one or the other place of Indian Constitution. Friends, I thought initially that my class, this session will be continued up to 12:15, and therefore I was interested to keep some time for your reaction. But now, from the organizer's side, it is said that my sins is made. I was not aware of all these things. But quickly, I will like to request the organizers to give at least 5 minutes time to know the reactions from the. Quickly, I would like to know the reaction from our participants. Participants, please.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Sir, your presentation is one of the best presentation so far I have attended. And besides, sir, I came across many new ideas from you. It's very interesting today. And one article I would like to ask, because of my network, I could not get through it. That is, which article of UDHR is equal to Article 23, Clause 1 of Indian Constitution?
23, Clause 1.
Sir, it must be in... Yes, sir. Which article of UDHR?
UDHR, it is Article 26. It is Article 26 of the UDHR. Yeah, this is that describing about right to education. Thank you very much for your comment and not, question.
No, not about that, sir. I was asking about the forced labor, which is prohibited in India.
Forced labor. Forced labor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
UDHR, it is Article 4.
Or slave in UDHR.
Slavery.
Article 4.
Sorry?
Article 4, UDHR.
Is it Article 4 of UDHR? Okay. Thank you, sir. I got it.
Article 4, yes. Article 4 is describing that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Got it.
Thank you.
Sir, may I,
besides, you will get all these things in your YouTube also. It is being recorded. Is there any other opinion, friends?
Sir, may I ask you a question?
Please.
Sir,
is something. right to property is something with the help of which a person, any citizen could accumulate any amount of property as he likes. Previously, this was such because it was granted by fundamental rights. And as we have already discussed, fundamental rights are placed at the highest place of our all other rights. You have the right to life. No compromise will be there with your right to life. You have the right to property. No compromise with the amount of property that you can accumulate by your own effort. But there is another section who is running without property. No property is there. They are very poor section in our society. We should think for them also. So in order to have some balance in between propertized section and property-less section, this is not thought that right to property should be placed in the fundamental rights. If our parliament thinks that some laws can be, some regulations should be made with regard to right to property, they are in a more easier place to change according to their necessity. I think that is the reason why this is replaced from the list of fundamental rights.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for your valuable speech. And I have to end the session here, first session, and next session will be start at 12:15. So
Okay.
I declare here end of the session.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks to
sir.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.